Hey crafters, welcome to the DM's Craft. I'm DM Scotty. Today we're going to do a portal. I've shown you how to do a portal before, but today we're going to do an archway with a portal in it. This was an interesting technique I came up with and I thought you'd like to see it. So let's go to the table and I'll show you how I did that. Today's craft came from an idea where I found this folder thingy, and it has this plastic cover. It's like a translucent plastic cover, and I thought that might be kind of fun for like a gate. So I was working on a game and I wanted to have a like an archway and a gate. So what I did was, I'll move this out of the way, I made a template for the size of the gate, and then I traced it on some thin cardboard. So I ended up with this. Okay. Now, you can see I cut it out the shape of the template and then I cut inside. So I just, what I did was I drew inside and then I used an X-Acto knife. Made it a little easier to cut it out as opposed to trying to do it with a large box cutter. So I also traced on that plastic, and I got this shape, and I used the template to trace it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this. I made two pieces, so I'm going to take this piece, sandwich the plastic in between the two, and then I'm going to put the other piece like that, so that this plastic will be sandwiched in. So now I'll just glue that with the hot glue gun and I'll come back. I'm also going to line it. You've seen me do this before. I'm going to line it with the cardstock. That'll cover that edge. So I'm going to do all that and then I'll come back. So here's my archway with the plastic in between. And you can see I did the edging on that. So I just cut a strip of thin cardstock and put it around the edge. That just hides the edge. And I'm not worried about the inside edge. You're really not going to see it as much as the outside. So what I want to do though is I want to do some detail on the gate itself. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use my small glue gun and then I'm going to start doing a pattern. I think I'm going to do like a kind of a pulling into the gate. This. So I give it a little bit of interesting detail. All right, so now I'll let that dry, and then I'll start working on the paint job. Now you notice that since I've got the plastic, I can't do what I would normally do as far as like spray painting it black. So I'm just going to leave it this color and then add the paint to it without doing any kind of base paint of black. So we'll move on to that next. Now the paint job is going to help that this is white cardboard. So if you were using brown cardboard, I would recommend either painting it white or spray painting it white first before you try to do this, because if you do the cardboard, it'll be really hard to get the green to stick. So I'm going to use a lemon lime. It's very bright green, and it's going to look a little weird at first, but once we get this going, you'll see what I have in mind. So we're going to paint the entire edging, including the cardstock to hide the edge. So I'll finish painting that, and then we'll come back and I'll show you the next step. My green is dried, and you can see that the portal itself is a little bit bent from the hot glue that was on the plastic, but I can fix that when I glue it on the base. I'll just correct it. But right now what I'm going to do is I'm going to use a color called Ink and Gold, which is a very thin light gold. And what it tends to do is not cover up the color so much as to give it kind of a sheen. So let me put that on there and I'll show you what I'm talking about. This might be a little hard to see, but you can see the green through it. But this will give it a nice kind of magical sheen. See if I can give you a look at that. See that shining there? So now I'll paint the rest of this and we'll move on to the next step. For the detail on this, I'm going to use the sponge technique. So I'll use my sponge, and I've got a metallic black that I'm going to use. So I'm going to use a brush and I'm going to kind of apply it to the edge of this sponge. And then I can use that to do my technique. Alright, so I think I got enough black on there right now. So what I'll do is I'll move this out of the way. And then I'll take the portal and I'll just start here. Can you see that? That'll give a nice interesting texture on there. Alright, so there we go, that's what that looks like. So now I'm going to do all the way around on the other side on the edges, and then we'll come back and go to the next step. For the gate itself, I'm going to use a very watered down emerald green, and I'll get that on there, and then I'll just start kind of, and that'll bring out those that detail we did with the glue gun. And like I say, this is a metallic, so. Alright, so now I'm going to hit the other side too with it. Alright, so we'll let that dry and then we'll come back and do another extra detail. I want to add a little more magicalness to the gate, and I'm going to use that ink and gold that I was talking about earlier in kind of the raised areas, and that'll kind of just differentiate it a little bit. And it's still got that high sheen, so it'll make it definitely look magical because it's that metallic. And you can even do in a few, the areas, the more open areas. Here, I'll give you a look at that. Here, now I'll let you look at that. So you can see that really kind of brings out some nice sheen on the surface of that. So now we'll attach this to the base and straighten it out. Here I have my base cut, and it's just a 3/4 inch strip, and I'm going to grab my gate and then glue it on here. So this one, since the gate is a little warped, I'm going to have to hold this while it's drying. So what I'll do is I'm going to glue the edges here, the bottom here. And then I'll put that on. So here we are, it's dried on the base, and you can see it's straight, but it still has a little bit of warpage on the bottom of the base, which is okay. It could be like the field shimmering and that kind of thing. So I think it came out really nice. So now we'll put it on a tile and I'll show you what it looks like. Here we go, guys. Here's the portal archway. And you can see it's pretty neat. I have some light coming through it from behind, and you can see the light passes through, and that's kind of a neat. Also, when you look at it more directly, you can see that it has that sheen on it from all the metallic paint we use. So that's really nice. Now this kind of a room is like a magically darkened room, so that's what's going on here. But anyways, here's a couple of figures for scale. And this thing could be really fun in a game. It could be a portal, like we've said. It could be a magical barrier that the players have to somehow get across. You could have different ones with different colors, and so maybe it's a puzzle that the players have to figure out. So there's a lot of possibilities with this kind of thing. And you could, if you wanted to, you could just say the players pass through. You could even make one without the portal in it, and you know, have it be an open passage. So, all right, there we go. There's our archway with the portal in it, and we'll see you next time on The Craft. Hey crafters, I hope you've enjoyed this episode of the DM's Craft. Make sure to subscribe, and I have tons of other videos, as you can see. I am the originator of the 2.5D method of crafting tiles. I also do dirt cheap terrain for the table. If all this intrigues you, make sure you check out all the videos below. Also, join my forum. We have lots of great crafters on there who give advice. I have a link above and below. And last but not least, remember, go forth and craft!